Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Friday Night Smackdown on January 24th, 2014. And, you know, this being the final show completely before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, I'll have to say this was a very poor show in general. I mean, you got a few decent promos out of it, but in the terms of storyline building, and even in some cases just match quality in general, it wasn't really that good. Decent promos, you know, like I said before, decent promos with Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. I thought they did a decent job there, but it didn't really add much to the storyline, setting up their match for the at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Though I am liking the aspect that they are keeping Daniel Bryan out of the actual Royal Rumble match talk. I like where they're going with that, especially if they're trying to swerve it to where, you know, he'll be somebody in the actual match, but they haven't used him in any of the type of Rumble talk in any way, shape, or form. So I like the aspect that they're focusing just on the Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan match there. And hopefully they'll put Daniel Bryan into the Royal Rumble itself. I couldn't see any reason why they wouldn't do it. He is pretty much the most over guy that they have at this point in time. So we'll see if they actually do that. I think the match with him and Bray at the Royal Rumble should be a pretty good match. And then I expect to see probably both of them in the actual Rumble match itself. Another decent promo from Paul Heyman towards the Big Show to set up the set up a little bit more with the Brock Lesnar match. But then again, it didn't really add much to the match itself because, as I've been saying this entire time, Paul Heyman drives the storylines for Brock Lesnar. He doesn't show up on many of the shows, so Paul Heyman has to do the driving force, and at this point you're not going to really add much going into the pay-per-view this close to it. So I didn't really see much of a point of them having that. I kind of like the banter between CM Punk and Kane there. It almost makes you feel like Kane's either going to do something in the Rumble match to make sure Punk gets eliminated, or he's going to enter the match himself at some point in time, and you'll see a little clash between CM Punk and Kane at that point. So we'll see where they go with that. I mean, obviously they're obviously going with Punk being the #1 entrant. I liked his promo about the #1 entry and everything. I even liked Kane's retort, and even throwing a statistical chance out there and everything. That was some decent stuff. But then and at that point, it doesn't really add much to the Rumble match itself that you don't already really know in any way, shape, or form. It just came off as a decent promo. Doesn't really add anything to the storyline. Outside of that, it was tag team matches galore again. You had Big Show and Rey Mysterio versus the Real Americans. That was an okay match itself, but in all honesty, served no real purpose. You had the Primetime Players versus the Wyatts, which was just a squash match. There was one other tag team match outside the 10-man tag in there, and it's slipping my mind at this point. If it's, you know, slipping my mind here, it's didn't really do anything. Other than that, you had Fandango versus Kofi Kingston. That was an okay match. And then AJ Lee versus Naomi, or not Naomi, but Cameron. And that really didn't do anything, and really the match itself wasn't any good to begin with. So that was that. The 10-man tag match with The Shield and the New Age Outlaws versus Cody Rhodes, Goldust, Big E Langston, and the Usos was, again, a good match, but at this point you kind of gotten drowned out with the whole tag team matches deal, that this one didn't really do much of anything for you at that point. And like I said, just the show itself did not, it didn't really feel like a good show in any way, shape, or form. You had the decent promos in there. You had everybody talking up the Royal Rumble. And if there was one real, maybe not saving grace, but, you know, one moment that they typically had done, and usually they save this for the Raw before Royal Rumble, but they saved it for here. The whole basically battle royale, or the whole cluster of everybody who's in the Rumble match to end the show. I thought that was a good way of ending the show. It's usually one of the best ways to end the go-home shows each year. It kind of gives you that feel, you know, of how the Rumble match works and everything like that for anyone who's never seen it before. because sometimes you do get the people that are new fans, so they get a little glimpse of what it will be like for the Sunday's pay-per-view. They're getting it at that point. But overall, I did not feel that this show was any good. You had some decent promos, a couple decent matches in there, but you didn't really get anything really that good, and you had way too many tag team matches on it to begin with. So I can't really say it was a good show. So yeah, that's my review this week for WWE Friday Night SmackDown, and I thank you guys for watching.